fishing is a hobby, gardening is a hobby. I could go on and on and on. He has a lot of hobbies. And I have felt like I am broken because I don't have normal hobbies. I wanted to share this with you because I feel like this is something that you may need to hear. We are bombarded with this idea of self-care, this message of self-care, make time for self-care, do things that fill you up, etc. I think that the roots of that message, the intention behind it is very good. I think the intention behind it is typically take freaking care of yourself. Do not let yourself become so dried out and dried up and become this martyr who, in the interest of being this, sacrificial, Jesus-like person, you just totally lose steam and just totally lose yourself and become this lifeless zombie who is spiritually sick, physically sick, emotionally sick, right? The underlying message and reason behind this message of self-care that we are being preached is so good, so good. But I think that we need to remind ourselves of what is the purpose of the self-care. And that is because what you do to care for yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally may not look like very cliche standard methods of self-care. So look for the fruit in your life. You may not be doing normal self-care type things, bubble baths, trips with girlfriends, hobbies, and yet you may be very whole and well. If so, that's great. Or you may be doing the very cliche standard things and you still don't feel whole and well, right? That's what we're after. It's that fruit. It's being this whole and well version of ourselves so that we are flourishing and we are healthy, which I think is okay in its own right. And then also the thing that everyone talks about, so that we can pour out and, for all the good things that it does for other people. So I have some watercolor stuff that I'm getting rid of. My mom came across it several months ago, like stuff from when I was a kid, and brought it back to me, and I was like, this is great because I want to get back into watercolor. And my husband is one of those people with a huge list of hobbies, things that are true hobbies. Everyone would agree. Hunting is a hobby, fishing is a hobby, gardening is a hobby. I could go on and on and on. He has a lot of hobbies. And I have felt like I am broken because I don't have normal hobbies other than maybe reading. But even when I read personal growth and Jesus books, and I don't read novels. So I have tried so hard to make this watercolor thing work. Checked out books from the library and tried to make little habits and really tried to push this and make this thing happen. I'm just not loving it. I'm not enjoying it. I know that I am definitely not past that hump of, because it's been like 20 years since I watercolored. So there's definitely a learning curve to that, right? Like usually for you to enjoy a hobby, you have to put in some effort at first that you might not always enjoy. But I'm just not feeling it. And the only reason that I've been hanging on to this watercolor stuff is out of this feeling of like, I should have a hobby. It'd be so healthy for me. And even my husband's like, I'm so excited that you're getting back into watercoloring. Like, I think it's so great for you to have something like this for yourself. You know what? Hanging on to this watercolor stuff and trying to make that happen and forcing myself to do it on a Sabbath when, I have a almost 1-year-old and a 4-year-old boy. I just want to sit and stare at the trees in my backyard, or just read a book, or just pray, or go on a walk and zone out on Sundays. By the way, hey, if you are new here, my name is Diana. I'm a certified professional life coach, and I work with go-getter Christian women on all things related to time management, systems, intentional living, minimalism, etc. So if that appeals to you, then hit subscribe and check the description below for how to join my email family and get some awesome freebies. Doing watercolor does not feel like self-care to me. It just feels like another thing to do. And yet I feel like I am a relatively spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally healthy person. I don't think I need the watercolor. I may not be doing self-care the way that other people do. I'm not huge on travel. I don't take baths unless I have mastitis. I don't do a lot of crafty stuff. I'm not doing all those kinds of things that seem like the normal types of self-care. I don't have a gym membership, but I'm getting the results that I think the point of the self-care movement is after. So just check on that for yourself. Like I said, It's not as much about are you checking off those boxes, but what fruit are you getting? And if you feel like you're doing a lot of that stuff and you still don't feel filled up, maybe it's because there's not enough Jesus in the midst of all that, or maybe you just aren't really pursuing the kinds of things that really nourish you. So know yourself, be a student of yourself, and obviously be a student of the Word and of Jesus, because you can have the healthiest self-care habits in the world, but without Jesus, you're still gonna feel empty. That's just my thought for today. So watercolor stuff is gonna get offered to a friend of mine, and maybe someday I will want to have more cliche hobbies, and if so, that's great. But for now, I'm healthy, and so that's okay. I don't need to force it.